this was, for all intents and purposes, the Naruto chapter of One Piece. I mean, I was half expecting Luffy to be like, Sasuke, I'm here to bring you back to the village. Come back to us, Sasuke. I'm not leaving without you. It's crazy. It's like, even Judge at one point tells Sanji, you've finally been able to sever that bond, that useless bond, Sasuke. And then by the end, Luffy almost completely references a quote from Naruto. He basically says, how can I become Hokage if I can't save one cook? I cannot become Pirate King without you, Cook. I need you. I need your services. It's crazy. I actually thought, last week that, this was going to be very similar to the whole, like, Enies Lobby, Robin, I want to live moment. But in Sanji's case, he's going to have a I want to cook moment. Now, to be fair, this chapter introduces a major crucial difference between the whole Arlong Park, Nami situation and the Robin, Enies Lobby situation in the way that Luffy is going to be handling these circumstances. And I think that speaks to, like, Luffy's maturity as a character. I think it's more of like, I think he understands that this is like a family thing that Sanji has to take care of. It may also seem, from my understanding, Luffy was close enough to the Vinsmokes to actually be able to gauge or evaluate how strong they are. Luffy always knows who the top dogs are. Like, the moment he meets someone strong, he just tells them, you're pretty strong, aren't you? So my opinion as of right now is that I think he's been able to sense how strong the Vinsmokes are, and so he's trusting Sanji to be able to take care of his own family issues by himself at this point. Otherwise, if he knew that Sanji would be overwhelmed by the Vinsmokes, I do not think he would have offered to stay in that place to starve to death. As just to do a hunger strike. I think he would have just said, like, fuck it, I'm going to try and get these guys off your back, just like he did with Robin and Nami, because he knew that the girls were overwhelmed. Then again, Luffy deciding to stay behind may also be due to the fact that he just doesn't have enough energy to take down all of the Vinsmokes. Because, as Nami said in this chapter, Luffy is at his limit. That's why she was trying to get Sanji to cooperate and be like, what are you doing? You stop kicking Luffy. He just fought Cracker for 11 hours. Holy crap. Because in all honesty, when I was reading the chapter, I honestly thought it was very weird that when Sanji was kicking Luffy, like, Luffy was not using any type of armament haki to defend himself, to at least, like, buffer the blow. Those kicks that he was getting, like, he was taking them head on. Like, he was not using any type of haki. So I thought it was kind of weird. And then I thought, wait, what if he's not using it because he can't? He's just so drained, he can't produce haki at the moment. By the way, that whole, like, Nami interfering moment, that was totally a Sakura moment here. When Luffy tells her, Sakura, stay out of this. This is between me and Sasuke. Please shut the fuck up. This is a duel. Whatever happens here, I'm fine with it. But it's between him and me. Now, obviously, this is an action chapter, so the story progression that we get is kind of limited, but I do have to say that the action panels, just look on point. The artwork, especially when it comes to the facial expressions and Sanji's Diablo Jamba attacks, just look great. So props to Oda for that. And just to give you a little bit of a perspective in terms of, like, Sanji's feats when it comes to these kicks, the concasse, I think that's how you pronounce it, the final kick that he does on Luffy, which is the one that he spins up into the air, comes, like, rolling down and then hits Luffy on the top of the head with the heel of his foot. That kick was able to take down a giant tiger pre-time skip. Personally, if you ask me, I think what that did was that it cracked the tiger's skull open, and that was pre-time skip, and that was even without Diablo Jamba, alright? So a non-Diablo Jamba concasse hit was able to take down this ginormous fucking tiger. Luffy took that shit with Diablo Jamba post-time skip. So we can assume that Sanji was performing those kicks with haki embedded legs, because otherwise Luffy would probably not be bleeding as bad as he did in the chapter. But Luffy still got up from it. Like, base form Luffy took those kicks and he still got up. I mean, that's a feat on Luffy's behalf. That was just great. It just shows how bulky he's become. even when it comes to his base form. By the way, the whole tiger feat that I just showed you comes from Strong World, and I'm just using it to illustrate the point. But, you know, if you want to consider this feat as legitimate, I guess it just depends on whether or not you consider Strong World to be canon. Personally, I consider that movie canon because, number one, Oda wrote it, and plus, like, if you went to the movie, you got Volume 0, and Volume 0 is also kind of like the prologue to the movie, and that's like legit Oda's work. That is like drawn by Oda, written by Oda. Even though it's a very short volume, it's Volume 0. So I consider the entire movie of Strong World to be canon. But anyway, this chapter really made me put a lot of things into perspective, specifically relating to the crew dynamics. It really, for one, it really made me miss Zoro. I mean, I wish Zoro would have been in this scene, in this arc, all right, just as a whole, just to see how he would have reacted to the cook beating up the Sencho. It's like, oi, Kuka, what are you doing? Like, you're beating up the Sencho. He would have blocked every hit, guaranteed. He's the right-hand man for a reason. And, you know, he probably would have taken Sanji on, because Zoro doesn't take, like, he doesn't take the bullshit. Luffy's a little bit more forgiving. Zoro's like, fuck no. So I thought this chapter was really good, not just because of the action, but also because of the emotional weight that it carries pertaining to Luffy and Sanji's relationship. That being said, all right, let's be honest here, all right? It's a good chapter. You know, it did get emotional by the end, especially with Sanji just tearing up. You know, his brother's making fun of him. So he's getting like these flashbacks about, you know, the moment where Luffy asked him to join the crew when he became the Straw Hat cook, the Straw Hat chef. And then he's also getting flashbacks to getting beaten up by his brothers. That was just great. You know, that final statement by Luffy, I did joke about it in the beginning, but it is really powerful. He's literally saying, yo, Sanji, you know, I can't do this without you. And he said it in Arlong Park, because he was talking to Arlong and he said, like, you know, I've always known that I wouldn't be able to become Pirate King by myself. I can't use swords. I can't navigate for shit. You know, I can't cook. I can't even lie. So he's referencing all of his friends through that speech. However, this is the first time where he directly just tells somebody straight up, yo, I can't do this without you. Like, personally, like face to face, man to man, he just told Sanji, if you're not here, I might as well just die here, because I'm not going any further. I know that I can't do this without you. So that was really good. However, all right, if we're being honest, and you're putting the fanboy aside, when it comes to internal conflict between crew members, internal crew turmoil, all right, this chapter does not hold a candle when you compare it to Usopp versus Luffy. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. It's a great chapter. This chapter is Oda doing great work, but the Luffy versus Usopp thing that happened, that's when Oda hit the mark. That's when Oda just outdid himself. And I know it's kind of unfair to compare the two in a way because they're completely different circumstances, but at the same time, the subject matter is the same. Like, there's the risk of a crewmate leaving the crew. Two people are going to fight. One of them is the captain. And so you just kind of like have to have some point of reference in terms of what to expect. And so my mind was automatically drawn to Usopp versus Luffy. I wasn't going to compare this to the bullshit, god-awful Zoro versus Luffy fight in Whiskey Peak, because that was a joke fight. That was just no. That was not serious at all. This had a little bit of more of a serious undertone. And I think the main difference between the Usopp thing and this thing is that Usopp, when we fought Luffy, those two guys, their intentions were genuine. They were literally fighting for what they thought was right at the time. This is completely different. Sanji's, like, his reasoning for going against Luffy is dishonest. And even Luffy was able to spot that. He was like, you're a terrible liar. You're bullshitting. Cut the crap, Sanji. I know, like, this is not a genuine effort. But I guess the biggest question that this chapter leaves us with is, what the fuck is up with Ichiji? Seriously, look at his panels in this chapter. Whenever you see Yonji or Niji, they are laughing their ass off. They're joking around. They actually take pleasure in Sanji's, like, suffering and just the entire conflict. But when you look at Ichiji literally has one expression throughout this entire chapter. I'm telling you right now, that guy is hiding something, which makes him cool in my book, at least for now. Nami slapping Sanji, that kind of got me to question, like, why she did that, especially because we know that Luffy was able to see through Sanji's lies. Did she hit him because he was hitting Luffy? Because here's the thing, all right? Usually when you see a movie and there's a slap like that, when a female slaps a male like that, there's usually some type of romantic undertone because the female is like really hurt, and so that's the way that, you know, she can express herself. I like her dialogue, like her calling him Lord instead of Sanji-kun, because it's very formal royal type language, but she's just being super condescending with it. So I kind of like that spunk. That being said, you know, do you really think that Luffy is just going to stand there and wait for Sanji to come back? Because the problem with that is that last time I checked, they were on red alert because he had just taken down a Sweet Commander. So if another Sweet Commander shows up, Nami said it herself, Luffy is at his limit. And especially, you know, plus he had the Sanji beating. He fought Cracker for 11 hours. He took the Sanji beating. It's not looking really good. If a Sweet Commander comes in to take Luffy down, it's pretty much over. Unless, and I've been saying this over and over again, unless somebody shows up to help Luffy. But it has to be somebody who's at least Luffy level, all right? Because it's just not going to work any other way. We still don't know what happened to Jinbei. Capone is doing his thing. Brook and Pedro, we don't know anything about that. We know that Chopper and Carrot have a plan in the mirror world. So we have to wait to see what happens. But I do think if Mom sends out a Sweet Commander, that's pretty much it for Luffy. Like, how is he going to get away with it? I don't know. I don't know. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. I thought the cover page was okay. It was just Sugar there, you know, with a couple of wolves. She's okay, so she's not knocked out anymore, I guess. Even though the cover pages don't really count in terms of like the actual chronology of the series. It was okay. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did. I think I said that already. Comment down below with your thoughts and theories. And subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys. Bye.